Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. First and foremost, I want to wish you all a happy new year. I hope this year is prosperous and brings health and wealth to you and happiness. I always love the start of the new year. I know it's very cliche. I'm not saying new year, new me. It's the same me. My motto is it's 2022, you do you, and I'm gonna do me, and we're all gonna be happy. So I hope you all had a safe New Year's Eve and a great New Year's Day. I am here to recap Sister Wives. This is episode 7, choosing kids over Kody. I thought it was a good episode, if not a little redundant or having the same conversations. But before we jump into the recap, there's something I want to bring up because I got a few comments on my last video about Robin being an actress. I'm sorry, not just an actress, a model slash actress. Is she really? Because I'm thinking, okay, those of you who have told me this, or those of you who know, when you say she's an actress, are you talking she played a Petunia in her 2nd grade recital, or she played Sandy in her high school musical production of Grease? Like, what has she acted in? Has she been in some bona fide television, movie, theater productions? Broadway? Somebody let me know. Because somebody said, oh no, she has like a resume. What exactly is on said resume? I need to know. Also, a model. Now, when I think of model, my mind just automatically goes to the 1990s when you had like supermodels of the world, Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell, Christy Turlington. Is Robin tall enough to be a model? Because I'm thinking like catwalk. Is she tall enough to be a model? Or if not that kind of catwalk, Vogue model, I think of Instagram model. She doesn't really check either box. Or was she, you know, like catalog, they don't say catalog model, but you know, I think of like America's Next Top Model when they would critique the models and they would use a word. It was almost like a little disparaging. Like you never want to be, a commercial. Is she a commercial model? Catalog? And hey, I think I hear catalog models make pretty good money, so I'm not, you know, pish-poshing that away. But what has she modeled? What has she acted in? Somebody let me know. And if this is true, she's pulled out all of her acting chops, and she's got a real skill set that I don't think she's utilizing in the best way. She's saving it all up for this reality show. And then it made me wonder, because, you know, a lot of people, actors, models, what have you, will use reality TV as sort of a gateway to break into legitimate, like, entertainment, A-list level acting jobs. I mean, very few can make the leap. The only one that comes to mind is Cardi B. I'd say Cardi B's A-list. I remember when she was on Love and Hip Hop New York, and I had no idea who she was, but she was very entertaining to watch, and she really used that as a springboard, and she's off and running. But then you have those people, I think, who use reality TV to jumpstart their career, but just have such a reality show personality. Right now I'm watching Real World Homecoming LA, and Tammy Roman was on that season. It was like the 2nd season of The Real World. And you know, if you know Tammy Roman, she's like one of the queens of reality TV. She's done Basketball Wives, Marriage Boot Camp, like, and I think she's also done a few legitimate like Lifetime movies. But she's like what I would say like a reality show star, like a Nene Leakes, like their personality, we tune in to watch them. Are the Browns reality stars? I think they are. But that's not to say, I don't think that Robin married Kody just to like get on a reality show and jumpstart her career. I think she really did love Kody and thought, oh, this couldn't hurt. Maybe this can open up some doors for me. But you guys let me know. What has she been in? Somebody tell me. Let me know. Because I just, yeah. Okay. And hey, if she's really acting, she's good at it. She's good at it. If this is all for show, all these tears and whatnot. Anyway, I think I've rambled on long enough about that. Let's get into the episode. Did I forget to mention this will probably be the last time I film in front of this tree? I'm gonna take it down. I'm just really sad because it really it brightens up my studio, and but I know it's time to take it down. So anyway, the episode was really mainly about Janelle and Kody's relationship and them just not being able to get on the same page, see eye to eye, compromise. And I do feel really bad for Janelle. So Kody goes over to Janelle's because she asked him if he could come and like trim some trees and bushes, and he comes over and she says it's really the only time she sees him or that he comes around is he won't go inside because her and the family aren't following his rules, but he'll do some yard work for her. So she asks Gabe if he'll excuse himself because she wants to have a private conversation with Kody. So Gabe leaves, and Janelle actually starts the conversation by apologizing to Kody for the way she acted at their meeting a few days earlier when he handed out the rules. And I didn't think she had anything to apologize for. She says she came across maybe a little abrasive because some of the rules that she was reading just felt stifling and too much. And okay, so fine, maybe you felt like you were being rude. I didn't really see it that way. So Kody's like, oh, okay, so then you agree with me and you're on board and you're gonna do these rules. And she says, okay, well, if that's what you and Robin are doing, he stops her in her tracks like, no, these are my rules. Robin has chosen to comply with them and follow them because she sees the value and the benefit in following them so our family can stay together. And it's very rude and condescending and insulting to say that, because what he's doing is implying that Janelle and the other wives don't care. They don't see benefit or value in keeping the family together. And Janelle, she recognizes that, and in her confession says, well, good for Robin that she can follow these things so easily. You know, her kids stay in. She doesn't have children that have to work essentially or in school. Her life is totally different. Janelle has 2 kids in the house. They're not kids anymore. They're adults, yes, but they do their own thing. She can't control them in that way. So what is Kody's solution? Well, kick them out. They're adults. Bye-bye. See you. That's literally what he's saying. Kick them out. He would rather Garrison go live in his car than stay in Janelle's another 3 months until he has enough saved for his down payment on his house. Like, I just don't, it's not, to me, it's an imbalance. You want me to kick these kids out so you can come and spend the night once, maybe twice a week? No. And he's saying, well, my dad kicked me out and I was on my own. Well, good for you. And I know that there are parents out there who are like that, because I know one personally who, when her kids turned 18, like right after high school, I think she'd give them like the summer to figure it out. And then she sent like, bye, good luck. I'm done with, not done with you, but my responsibility to you is done. I love you. It's not like it was bad blood, but she really saw her 18-year-old children as adults, and you make your own way, and that's what she did. And I don't know that I could do that. I'm not a parent. I wouldn't do that. And we're not talking about 30-year-old men living in the basement. Again, we're talking about a young man who's trying to buy a house and set up his life, and why wouldn't we want to help him do that if we can? And he's only asking for 3 months. He's not asking for money. He's not asking to stay here for 5 years. It just doesn't make sense. And Janelle's saying she's just never going to see it that way. She's never going to kick him out. And Kody, I guess, would kick them out, except he's not on the lease. Janelle is, so he legally cannot evict them. Would he really, do they know that he's suggesting this? Because I think Janelle's trying to protect her kids as much as she can. They'll see it on the show, but I think right now she's trying her best to appease everybody. And this is why I feel bad for Janelle, because she's so stuck in the middle, and they're going in circles. They're not agreeing. They're not getting anywhere. She tells Kody, well, I'll talk to the kids, because what we're really trying to do right now is figure out what we're doing for the holidays, for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. So she says, I'll show the rules to the kids. I'll let them know what's up, and I'll let you know, and we'll go from there, because they're talking in circles. So Kody leaves, and she goes to have a conversation with Gabe, Garrison, and Savannah in the backyard, and tells them, all right, so I had a meeting with the adults, the wives, and your dad. We got this list of rules we have to follow. I'm not even going to show it to you. It's basically what we already do: social distance, mask up, wash our hands. But there's a few other things in there, like leave our mail outside for 24 hours a day, take your clothes off when you come in from the grocery store. And if we want to comply and follow these rules, then we can get together for Thanksgiving. And Gabe's like, see you next year. Like, no, I'm not doing any of that. That's ridiculous. And he, like in the last episode, the last episode we saw him where he was blowing off steam, as Janelle said, he's blowing off steam again. He's irritated. He's annoyed. He's saying Kody's rules are ridiculous. He's acting like a child. This is all so stupid. And his voice and his tone is just, he's taking it out on Janelle. And I don't think he's doing it on purpose, and maybe he doesn't realize it, but she's getting the brunt of all of this. And why isn't Kody having this conversation with them in the backyard? If these are, that's my question. If these are his rules that he's standing in, these are mine, solely for me, why don't you go have this conversation like, hey boys, I need you to do these things so we can get together. I feel it's the most important. I feel it's the safe. Like, why is he making Janelle and the other wives do this dirty work? And I think the reason why Gabe is so upset, and Janelle sort of mentions it, is because he feels rejected by Kody. They had a once seemingly good relationship, easygoing. They communicated well, and now just Gabe is saying they haven't seen him for 9 months. Now, there is a little bit of discrepancy here that I wish I could get some clarity on, because Gabe keeps saying we haven't seen him in 9 months. It's been like 9 months, like somebody could have been pregnant and had a kid, and that's how long we haven't seen him. But they are seeing him. I think they're just not getting the quality time. And Kody's saying, I do go over there. You have Christine chiming in a confessional saying her and her daughters have only seen Kody a handful of times this 9 months now. So I don't know how consistently Kody is coming around. But Gabe and Garrison are over it, and at one point they both suggest, well, let's just say we follow it, just to make him feel comfortable. We don't really have to. And Janelle's like, no, we are absolutely not doing that. And Savannah chimes in like, no, we're not going to be liars about it. And poor Savannah too, I just don't think has much of a voice because she's young, and I think she still wants to be respectful, because like I'm saying, if Kody would go and have this conversation with the boys and man to man, let me tell you what I think, and what I really think is you guys should leave because you're men. Why he's not having this conversation, I don't know. But would Gabe be calling Kody childish to his face and calling him stupid and ridiculous? But Janelle has to hear it, and Janelle, she doesn't want her kids to hate their dad and be upset, and so I think she's trying to protect Kody as much as she can, but she's telling them there's only so much I can do. Like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I'm really trying, but we really need to focus in on the point of this conversation is we're trying to figure out what we want to do for the holidays. Do we want to get together for Thanksgiving? Because if we want to get together for Thanksgiving with your dad and Robin and whoever else, then we're going to have to follow these rules. And Gabe's like, I'm not following those rules because I have a girlfriend. Her birthday is on Thanksgiving. And so, look, here's my deal. I'm not following these rules, and I'm not going to lie about it. So I guess I'm just not going to see Dad for a long while. But what else is new? And Savannah chimes in telling her brothers, you know, what you're doing, the choices you're making affect Mom and her relationship with Dad and how much she can see him and how much I can see him. So one of the boys suggests, like, all right then, like, if you really want to see Dad and spend Thanksgiving with him, we'll go to a hotel. I don't know, whichever one was like, me and the bro, we'll go to the hotel, we'll hang out there for 2 weeks, we'll turn up. What do those boys know about turning up? Actually, probably a lot more than I do. I'm an old lady. And Janelle's like, no. I'm not sending you to a hotel to be alone on the holiday. That's not happening. So then Gabe brings up, what's Christine doing for Thanksgiving? Where's she gonna be? Is she traveling? Let's go where she's going, because I'll follow the rules to spend time with Christine. And I just thought, like, that's so interesting that he's willing to follow rules and protocols and maybe some extra steps for Christine, but not Kody. And Janelle says that the kids are just really attached to Christine, because we have to remember Christine had a big hand in raising all those kids, because Mary worked and Janelle worked, and they're attached to her, and in a way that they're not attached to Kody. I think when it comes to the kids, their loyalty lies first with their biological mother, and then Christine. I find it fascinating. So she tells the kids, okay, well, I'm meeting up with Christine in a few days. I'll find out what's going on with her, and then I'll let you know, then we'll decide. But it pretty much sounds like they're not gonna be following Kody's rules, and yeah, I feel bad for Janelle again, because she's getting the brunt of all of this, and she's having to relay all these messages. She's just the messenger. She's caught in the middle, and why Kody can't go and have these conversations with the kids, I don't know. I don't know. It just seems very unfair that Kody is making this Janelle's problem, and it really bothers me that he always refers to them as Janelle's kids. Well, Janelle's kids are out socializing, and Janelle's kids it's your kid. These are your kids. And she says they're very opinionated and outspoken like their parents, and that's how they raised them. So you can't, it is what it is now, and so she has to hear it, but I think Kody should have to hear it too. So then we got this scene cut in between with Janelle going to visit Robin because she wants to drop off a birthday gift for her, and she buys her a towel warmer. She doesn't wrap it or anything. It's just like in the box. She knocks on the door and she says this is not the kind of gift giver she is. But Robin says that Janelle always gives really great self-care gifts and she really appreciates it. And then she invites Janelle to visit for a little bit. So they sit outside and the topic is just really about plural marriage. And Robin says that she's just really been stressed out and worried about Janelle specifically in her relationship with Kody because she can see the strain that's being put on their relationship and the distance and the separation, but that she's aware that Janelle and Kody have gone through a separation before. And Janelle shares, I wasn't aware of this, years ago, I think early in their marriage, they were living in Wyoming and Janelle had gotten this really good job with a great salary that she had just started when Kody wanted to move to Utah and she just wasn't ready to leave this position yet. So she sent him on, I guess, with just Mary. I don't think Christine was in the family yet. Maybe she was. They didn't say. And she said it was fine for a while because her and Kody, they just have great conversations. They can talk each other to death and they don't need to be in person to do that. They can talk on the phone. But then she sort of takes a step back and says, well, you know, there's more to us than just talking. Obviously, we have 6 kids. And she says that she often gets accused of having some sort of like brother or sister relationship with Kody that's like not sexual, but just friends. And no, they have kids to prove that they're more than friends. Fine. So she says she likes being in a plural marriage because she likes her independence and she likes her freedom. And that's why she kind of maybe came off a little, I think she said the word abrasive when she read this list of rules because she said it felt like her freedom and her choices were being taken away when these rules are so rigid. There's no room to do what I want to do, that's where that was coming from. So I guess that makes a little sense. Robin says that she likes being in a plural marriage too because she likes having, like Janelle, her own time. And before this whole lockdown quarantine panorama happened, she would see Kody once or twice a week and that was fine with her. But now he is spending a lot of time with her. And it's not what she signed up for. And one would think, oh, you're in a plural marriage and you get the man all the time. Good for you. But she says, no, that's not what she signed up for. That's not what she wants, especially because right now, all this time he's spending with her, he's always in a foul, pissed off mood because of everything that's going on, all the dissension. And well, I wonder if he was in a better mood, she'd like him around more. I don't know. And let her tell it. She had proposals on proposals on proposals from monogamous men. And I think she's like from some men who had other wives, like who were in plural marriages, and she turned them down because that's not what she wanted. She wanted to be in a plural family that had other wives. She could have her own time. And so what's going on right now is really frustrating to her because this is not what she signed up for, nor is it what Janelle signed up for. So they can relate to each other on that level. You know, Mary's chiming in with, oh, you know, in her confessional, they intercut her saying, oh, you know, Robin's tired of him and Janelle's tired of him. Send him my way. Honey, he don't want to go your way. And if I can just briefly touch on this whole Mary situation, and I think I can safely say she's playing up to it for the cameras, her little quips about, you know, send him my way and you know, I'll take what I can get and I'll do what I have to do, like thinking that this marriage can be salvaged when she well knows it can't. She said that. She said people have told her. She's thought about it. She realizes everything, but she's not going to go anywhere. They're stuck with her. To me, when she says things like that, it just comes off like it's not a good, imagine being in a relationship with somebody, whether it be like a spouse, a partner, a boyfriend, girlfriend, and you're trying to break up with them and they just won't go away. They will not get the hint. I mean, we know Kody won't actually kick her out. I mean, he'll kick his kids out, but not Mary. He won't actually kick her out, but he has all but told her, I never want to be in a full marriage with you ever again. And he's barely her friend for the show. I swear he only goes around when they're being filmed. And why you would choose to stay around when you say things like, you're stuck with me, it looks pathetic. I'm sorry, I know that sounds harsh, and I only say that because I think she's doing it for the cameras, but I've always said, I think she's there for the show and the money. I don't even think she's there for the family, because the family doesn't even reach out to her. They don't go spend time with her. Not even Robin. Robin wasn't even asking her to come around, when Robin very well knew that Mary has been holed up in her house by herself, seeing nobody, doing nothing but quarantining alone. And even Robin wasn't inviting her. So it's not even like, I can't even say you're there for the family. The family, sadly, is over. And I do think it's sad and unfortunate the way Mary is treated. I think it's awful. But Mary choosing to stay there, I feel like it looks, where, do you have a little pride? Like, I'm out of here. And I really think, and I know Mary will be fine on her own, could be fine on her own, is fine on her own. So this whole charade, it's not cute. You look pathetic. But I know you're not. I know you choose, like, this is the character and the role you choose to take. You know, sometimes in reality shows, and I know I'm rambling, you get the villain, and this is the pathetic role you want to take. Like, I don't think it's cute. And also later on, I'll just say it now because it's not even really worth mentioning, you know, Mary keeps saying, you know, she's following the rules, she's doing the protocols, but I think that's by default. I don't think she's doing it because she really thinks Kody's gonna come around or it's gonna bring the family together, because I'll tell you that if Mariah was there with Audrey staying with her, and Audrey or Mariah, both of them either both said, we're not following these Kody rules, I promise you, Mary would choose Mariah. Mary would never kick Mariah out if Kody suggested that, because Mariah didn't. You know what I mean? Like, this is she's following the rules by default. The chips fell that way. It's not her making a conscious, like, I'm gonna follow these rules because to keep the family together and Kody and then no. So miss me with all that. Anyway, I'm getting off track. So Janelle and Robin are visiting. They both commiserate that, yeah, polygamy, that's what they want. They want their freedom, but they want a little bit of Kody, but not all of Kody. So that was pretty much it for their little scene. Janelle says, I'm cold, I'm gonna get going. And Robin says, okay, see you later. So Kody and the wives get together to finalize what they're going to do for the holidays and what decisions have been made now that the rules have sort of been dispersed to all the kids. Janelle jumps in right away and says, well, I've talked to the boys and the kids, and they're really orbiting around you, Christine, and what your plans are, and maybe getting together with you. And you could tell Christine was moved by what Janelle was saying, and I wonder if this was sort of a reassurance to her, because, you know, in the back of her mind and all the things she's dealing with, maybe realizing at this point that it's not going to work out with Kody, and if she's worried, if I leave him, am I going to lose my family? This lets her know that even if she walks away from Kody, the family is not going to walk away from her. They are very much attached to Christine and they love her, and like I said, they're choosing her over Kody, really. And so Janelle's telling, like, no pressure, and Christine says, well, that's kind of a lot of pressure, but I'll let you know that I shared all the list of the rules with all the girls, the ones that she has at home, and they have decided that they would much rather go spend Thanksgiving with Mitch and Aspen and McKelty and Tony and all their rest of their siblings, so that's where we're going to be going. You know, I feel bad, I'm sorry, because Robin's sitting there like, oh, yeah, this is going to be the first holiday we're not all together. I mean, what about you, Mary? And it doesn't really sound like an invitation, but Mary says, well, I'll be here. Like, I'll spend Thanksgiving with you, Robin. And then Mary in her confessional, she doesn't understand. You know, they've been trying to get the family together, and now we have a list, and why doesn't everybody want to do it to get together? She's been doing it. But like I said, it's by default, Mary, because, hey, if maybe, I was going to say Mariah and Aspen invited you to Thanksgiving. I don't know, maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter, I guess. So Kody says, okay, well, because it kind of sounds like, okay, Christine's going to do her own thing, Janelle's going to do her own thing, maybe with Christine. It's going to be Kody, Robin, and Mary. So he says, all right, well, I heard what all of you had to say. I appreciate your feelings and your stance on what you're going to do. And Robin says, you appreciate it, or you respect it. And he's like, respect, appreciate, tomato. But I just need to let you all know, this is not a guilt trip, but, you know, I am not a foot soldier in this. I'm a general, whether I'm a good one or a bad one. Well, I would argue you're not a good general, because I feel like you have the Kody army the Kody Brown, not the Kody, the Brown Army, you have people going AWOL. They're joining Camp Christine. Like, I feel like you have Kody and Robin over here with their kids, maybe Mary, but that's just you got her by default. And then you have everybody else over here who would rather be together. And anyway, so he's saying, I have to look at the big picture that you all aren't seeing, that, you know, Garrison, he goes to work with others and he can infect somebody. And Christine, you have somebody working for you and you can infect her. And I'm thinking, okay, so so now the concern is not for the family's health and well-being, but everybody else outside of our bubble. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be concerned with other people. We should all look out and take care of each other. But it's this, are you talking about the film crew? Is that who he's talking about? Because he's saying, you know, what we do can affect other people's financial well-being and not just their health. And what? I don't, yes, we need to be concerned with everybody's health, but this seems like an out of left field, like, oh, and another thing, everybody else. Like, I'm just like, I don't, he's like grasping at, it feels like he's grasping at straws. And if he's talking about the film crew, I imagine that everybody before they film has to be tested. And if you test positive for the virus, you can't be in the scene. You got to go quarantine yourself. So why that isn't enough for Kody to feel comfortable enough to get the family to, it doesn't really, yeah, it doesn't make sense. And even Mary brings us up that she can see Robin's following the rules and he's spending time with her, and Christine isn't, and he's not spending time with her, and she is, but he just doesn't come around. So what is it really? And I think that's also what Gabe was trying, is the point he's trying to make. Like, what is this really about, the rules or who he really wants to spend time with? Would he really be coming around if you follow these rules, if you kicked me out? Or is it convenient for him to use that, knowing Janelle's never gonna kick her kids out? But that's what that's what's required. It's almost like you're setting her up to fail. Is that a reach? I don't know. So he tells them that he's looking at the big picture. You know, it's just food for thought, just pricking your conscience a little bit. But hey, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Yeah, he's looking around with his psycho smile, very condescending, that smile that just, you know, says F you and your kids too. And it's like all Janelle can take. She's over it. And she's just like, okay, well, if this is all decided, like, I'm out of here, bye. She gets up, and as she's walking away, she stops in her tracks because she hears Christine tell Kody, well, you know, I'm sorry we're not all getting together, but I have a very clear conscience on the choices and decisions I'm making, just so you know. And then Kody says, okay, well, that's great and all. Like, I hear you, but then you need to go and tell the kids to stop calling me and stop complaining that my rules are affecting them. But they are affecting them. And these aren't the government, local CDC guide. They're your rules, and they are splitting the family up. And why don't you have to answer to that? And why are you making all the moms do the dirty work? Why can't you take those calls and tell them what it is and why it is and explain it to them? Like, he's so tired of hearing it. But poor Janelle has to hear it all the time. And that's when she looks at Kody and says, well, you know what, Kody, like, I don't appreciate you insinuating that I don't care, that I don't see the big picture. You act like I don't do anything. You act like I don't wash my hands, like I don't take into consideration other people's health. And what you're asking me to do, these rules, you're basically asking me to be alone, to live alone. If I kick everybody out so I'm by myself, because Kody's never alone. He's never by himself. Remember last season, he said he gets all the love he needs. It's them that has the problem, that feel like they don't get enough, because they don't get enough. And that's not what he's seeing. And if it's not his way, then too bad, so sad, you're on your own. And I feel so bad for Christine. And he's just, I don't even know what he says to her, but he tells her something like, well, you know, Janelle, you know how I feel. I've made it very clear, and I'm just going to need you to respect it. And that's when she turns around and is just like, fuck you, fuck off. Not you. She says F off, and she walks away, and it's like, it's a little awkward, but I don't blame her, because as I've been saying this whole recap, she's stuck in the middle. She's having to deal with it. Well, okay, so when she leaves, Kody's just sitting here like, is it me? Like, am I being a bully? Like, why is she run off? And Christine, thank you, the voice of reason, is like, because Kody, her hands are tied. it's a lose-lose situation for her, and she's getting the shit from both sides, you and the kids, and neither one is letting up to give her some room to breathe. Nobody's compromising, and she's stuck in the middle. And the way you're coming off right now at this meeting, you're coming off kind of like harsh. You're coming off real strong, and it's not cool. And maybe he needs to hear it from somebody else. I don't know if he's really listening, Christine, but that pretty much sums it up. Yeah. She's stuck in the middle, and you're asking her to do the impossible on her own. It's not like you're there every day as a parent with the kids that are in the house. And maybe if you saw how hard Garrison was working to save his money, you might be more sympathetic to be like, yeah, son, you can stay and do what you got to do. I want to see you get that house. That's amazing. But he's not. He's coming across as very selfish. And I can only imagine how frustrated Janelle is, because also she's getting it from her kids. They're taking it out on her, and it's not fair when really they should be taking it out on him. And maybe they've had their phone calls, and Kody's just tired of it. Well, we're all tired of it, Kody. All of us are tired of it. That was it. Well, no, we get a little quick, Janelle left, but she checks in on her phone to do a little recording and say she just left the house, and she's just, like what I'm saying, she's frustrated. She's stuck between a rock and a hard place, and she doesn't just have to deal with all that's going on with the world, but she's got to make sure her kids are okay and that they're healthy, not just physically, but mentally. This is a lot going on. This COVID thing for this family, it's really ripped them apart, and it's sad. And Janelle is the one my heart really goes out to, because she can't win. She can't win. She just can't win. So that was the episode. Next week, I guess we'll see everybody's Thanksgiving celebrations, and looks like Christine's doing her thing, Janelle's doing her thing, Rob and Kody and Mary are doing their thing, and yeah, and I what did they do this year? I mean, it's so crazy to think this is Thanksgiving of 2020, like 2 years later, practically. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. Happy New Year again, and I will see you next time. Bye.